Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ok Xoomer. I'm your host, Aaron Lichtig, Xometry guy and former Jeopardy champion. And I'm here today with Cathy Ma, the VP of Growth and Engagement at Thomas, a Xometry Company. Thomas was recently acquired by Xometry, and we're so excited to have Cathy and her colleagues joining the Xometry team. Welcome, Cathy.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me today.
All right, excellent. So first of all, what is the Thomasnetcom platform?
So founded in 1898, Thomas actually started as the famous Thomas Big Green Book, the Thomas Register. And if you live in North America, if you have to find a machinist or you want to find raw materials like aluminum, you have to get access of that amazing register to find the right suppliers for your supply chain. But obviously time has changed and Thomas went completely digital about a couple of decades ago. And this is a very unique company because over our history, there had been two presidents who commemorated our contribution to North American economy. Because if you think about it, like before the times of Google, it's really hard to glean information about who can help you manufacture items. And now we have evolved into Thomasnet.com, a website, a digital platform, where we have over 560,000 Canadian and US suppliers. I always say from alloy to zinc, any industrial headings you're thinking about or categories you're thinking about, you come to Thomas, you search for your kind of a query, and then you can start evaluating thousands of manufacturers and filter it however you want. So we connect, millions of industrial buyers and sellers on a monthly basis, and a lot of them count on our platform to really guide them on the supply chain strategy.
Excellent. Now, who were the two presidents that recognized Thomas?
I know for a fact that Bill Clinton was one of them.
Right,
I need to get the one that, who was the president during the Second World War?
Franklin Roosevelt? Harry Truman?
I think, but I have the fact check on that.
This is not a trivia show, though. Maybe we should do a trivia show as well.
That would be fun.
Yeah, cool. So how did you make your way to Thomasnet?
This is a great story. So for the audience of this podcast, they might notice that I have a funny accent. So I actually grew up in Hong Kong and went to London to study and build my career in media and digital marketing and audience development. But my first love was really about the study of knowledge. And I was a sociologist on Wikipedia, really I was a romantic kid. I thought technologies can make the world a better place. And I still believe that. And Wikipedia is a great example of that, where a world of volunteers can get together to start building the world's biggest knowledge base, right? And I kind of study how people work together and how they work against one another and how trust can enable a magic to happen. So because of that, I kind of fell into the startup world. I worked for Yahoo for a bit, and then I realized the capability that I have in terms of using data to tell amazing stories to bring people together can be used in any industry. And I kind of experimented and worked across different sectors like media, finance, branding, helping nonprofits out. But I think one day when Thomas called me, that really changed my life, Aaron. So I was talking to our head of HR, Ivy, and she's awesome. She's like, we are this amazing company that back then I never heard of. And we've been doing this for years. And I said to her, you don't need me. I don't really know, the difference between plastic injection molding and CNC machining back then. But they're like, no, we need to connect with our audience. And we need to actually get them to understand our mission. And so I joined a company, and then I realized, you know what, we've been blind to the fact that manufacturing is the invisible fabric that connects humanity. And there's so much we can do in our sector, from creating carbon neutral tool to, enabling people to be able to see, with additional, for example, cataract insertion. Everything that we do is kind of magical, and we forget about that. So long and short of it, a really interesting journey. And I've been here for 3 years, and every day it's like a dream.
So you've had a very positive experience working in manufacturing overall.
Yes, it's actually my favorite industry, to my surprise.
Awesome. So what excites you most about kind of the coming together of Xometry and Thomas?
So this is getting nerdy, but it's getting exciting. If you think about Thomas, we have around 76,000 different kind of categories. As I said, from alloy to zinc, right? You can come to Thomas and look for any materials and services you want. But what Xometry has is an AI-powered capability in very efficiently connecting people with the people that can help them with their queries. And I think right now, Xometry is very good in a custom machining and 3D printing world, but the world is infinite if you add Thomas kind of breadth of content and supply sort of categories in it. And like I said, with the infrastructure plan coming down, there will be a lot of investment in renewable energy, advanced packaging, and telecommunications. And those are the sectors that actually have a lot of like downstream supply chain needs that can benefit from this amazing kind of a merger of the titans. Yes.
Excellent. Switching gears a bit. So you mentioned earlier in your career, you had an academic background and you worked on studying Wikipedia and other sites on the internet. What attracted you to Wikipedia, and what are some things about that site and that community that people may not know?
Yeah, so Wikipedia is fascinating, and my first degree was actually psychology. So I always am very interested in what motivates people to do what they do, be it when they're alone or especially when they're in a social group situation. So I was really lucky that when I was at the University of Hong Kong, one of my professors was one of the 21 administrators of Wikipedia around the world. And he actually needed someone to help him translate Wikipedia content from Chinese to English. I'm trilingual. And to understand how Wikipedians in China interact with Wikipedians from around the world. Because as you know, different language, different culture, but also a completely different internet altogether. Sure. So as a research assistant, I was looking at how certain Wikipedians are like circumvening the Great Firewall, and they're trying to really bring important knowledge about, ethnic minorities and trying to like really be there for everyone and be inclusive with the content they create. And that created a spark and completely changed my research direction from studying Chinese culture, filial piety of migrant workers and how they help their family to, okay, how is actually knowledge built amongst a world of strangers? Now, what is super interesting about this is my key focus is the concept of social capital, is how trust can enable information to flow, thus saving transactional cost. If you trust someone, you don't have to spend a lot of time writing a long contract on every deal you put together, and that things will happen based on your agreement, right? But there's a dark side to trust that people don't talk about a lot, and we're seeing it everywhere today in society. What is that? So you can look at social capital using Putnam's model between bonding social capital and bridging social capital. Bonding social capital is, I am so close to my family. We spend all holidays together before the pandemic. There is this amazing in-group kind of trust that if I ask my sister to do something for me, I know I don't have to follow up on that. I can trust her. And bridging social capital is really important, and people sometimes forget. It is when you're two completely different groups, let's use Xometry and Thomas as an example, right? We may have fusion of different groups and you may not know the culture and how people communicate. You have to build that bridge. And in the world, sometimes people can lean on the comfort of resorting back into your community of people you already trust and not actively get out of the comfort zone and talk to people outside of the community or their belief system, and to foster that kind of bridging trust. As a result, I actually follow the American General Attitude Survey that's been running for a long time. There's a huge decline in community trust. And that's why I feel like people are experiencing a lot of angst and social media, fight all the time with strangers on the internet, with family. It's a bit sad, and I hope by working in manufacturing, we can unite people over pragmatic innovation and building opportunities for all that can start creating that fabric of bridging social capital. Like I might be a 3D printing manufacturer, but if I hit a scale to do a bigger order, I can work with an injection molding company, right? Like we are constantly doing bridging social capital investment in manufacturing. And sorry, I kind of just went down a really nerdy rabbit hole here.
No, that's great. And I know you have this fascinating background. And kind of before you came to Thomas, you were not coming out of the manufacturing industry. You were coming out of a very different way of looking at the world. And I think that is really cool. And, I think both that is one thing that Thomas and Xometry both share, that we're trying to enable trust between parties and enable markets to function in that kind of way. So that was great. Well, Cathy, thank you so much for joining, and welcome to the Xometry family.
Thank you for having me today.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. We will be back in another couple days with another episode of Ok Xoomer. Stay safe and stay healthy, everybody.